What's up, everybody? It's Gomedex, and it's time to storm the Citadel. This is part 3 of 5 of the War of the Spark Chronicles, which are the special weekly events that are obviously going on for 2 more weeks after this. I believe part 4 is a special counter-related format, so lots of proliferate and stuff going on. And then part 5 is going to be Ravnica constructed, so only cards from all of the Ravnica sets in Standard. But this week we have Singleton back again, and we get to try out the new Mulligan rule, so this is going to be very exciting. So for those who don't know, the old Mulligan rule is, of course, that if you mulliganed, then you mulligan one less card into your hand the next time. So you mulligan from 7 down to 6, and then down to 5, so on. And if you mulliganed, you get to scry and look at the top card of your library. The new mulligan rule is you just keep drawing 7 cards every time you mulligan, but you have to put a number of cards from your hand back on bottom of your library for each time that you mulliganed. So, if you mulligan once, you redraw 7, and if you want to keep it, then you keep 6 of those cards and put 1 back on bottom of your library. So definitely a cool new rule. I'm excited to try it out. So for the event today, the Singleton deck that I am choosing to play is just a classic Grixis control style list, because I love Bolas and I wanted to play with Bolas. Let me actually open the deck here. Alright, here we go. So yeah, it's basically a lot of cards that mention Bolas, like Eldest Reborn and Augur of Bolas, and then Bolas himself, and the other Bolas. And other than that, it's just a lot of pretty basic classic control stuff. It's primarily blue-black. Red is more of the splash color. Just because I think that all of the control stuff in Dimir is definitely the coolest stuff, the most powerful stuff in Standard right now, in my opinion. Red just has a lot of the really good burn, and not so much the controlling stuff. But yeah, Singleton decks are kind of hard to go through in a video format like this, because there's just so many different cards. So I will definitely have the deck list in the description. But the gist of it is that it's basically all of the classic, most powerful blue-black control type stuff in Standard, alongside a few planeswalkers to hopefully end the game. So we'll go ahead and see how this deck does in the event. I am really not sure how it'll do. I have not looked up any deck lists that people are playing in Singleton yet, and the event basically just started a couple hours ago, so the War of the Spark standard Singleton meta is not really it's not really well known right now. And to be fair, standard Singleton meta is usually pretty vast, pretty wide amount of options you can do, so we'll just have to see if the deck I built is any good or not. Hopefully it is. Whoa! How do they get those sleeves? Oh, they're the Japanese artwork sleeves that you can buy in the store with gems, I believe. I have never seen someone actually with these sleeves, so I didn't know that it had the Magic Arena logo at the bottom as well. Alright, Search for Azcanta is a really good draw, because I definitely want to hit a red mana source sometime soon, so if whatever's on top is not a red mana source, I might mill it. Probably just if it's not a land in general, because if it's any land, then I can go ahead and Chemister's Insight at the very least to draw a couple cards. And opponent drops a Teferi turn 3. That's pretty bad. That's going to shut down all of my instant speed plays. I have to do them sorcery speed now. I believe Hostage Taker only exiles artifacts and creatures. That is true. Hostage Taker might not be so good anymore in the War of the Spark Singleton meta, because there might be a lot of people playing a lot of planeswalkers, so that kind of removal will be more important. I'll definitely see as we go on with these games. I'm actually just going to Chemister's Insight here rather than recasting the Search. I just really want to hit that red source. And we did. We hit a Sulphur Falls, so we can cast Nicol Bolas next turn.
I have a plan.
Joyra, Weatherlight, Captain. Alright, so opponent has played 4 different colors alongside a Gateway Plaza, so they have every color of mana available, and both cards they played so far are legendary, so I assume I'm playing against a freaky Super Friends deck over there that is, since it's Singleton, just has like literally every good Planeswalker in Standard. I assume that's what's going on here. I am going to go ahead and just play Nicol Bolas here. I could have Price of Famed there, because then I get to make sure that they don't draw an additional card when they play their next Planeswalker, or whatever historic permanent they're going to be casting. But I think I'd rather just play Bolas out there and make them deal with him, and if they can't, Bolas can definitely threaten any Planeswalkers that they're playing. Enter the God Eternals from opponent. Alright, so now that I've seen their graveyard, it kind of just seems like 5-color good stuff. It's not even like highly themed around Planeswalkers from what I'm seeing in the grave. They do just have like an Underrealm Lich and a Thief of Sanity. There's some random dorks as well. Not necessarily just legends. Alright, so I can play a Liliana and make us both sack 2 creatures, and I think that's definitely the play here, actually. I was thinking about doing other stuff, but that just seems like a lot of value, even if they kill Liliana immediately. I certainly hope they don't. Ravager Worm, gonna give that haste, probably attack Liliana for 4 and get her off this field.
I am exhausted.
Alright, Fairy goes up to 4. I really want to deal with that Teferi, but I don't have anything instant speed to do to him. So if I Hostage Taker Ravager Worm, they just bounce my Hostage Taker and draw a card and get the Ravager Worm back. That seems pretty bad. Probably going to have to use just some flat-out removal on the worm, so I could do Thief of Sanity and Murder. Yeah, I'm going to do Thief of Sanity and Murder. And I have to do it main phase because of Teferi's static ability here. Thief of Sanity is probably getting bounced. We'll definitely see. There's a Hero of Precinct 1, followed by Vraska. That is a very good combo. They will always have fodder to sacrifice for Vraska's +2. Looks like they will use the -3 and get rid of Thief of Sanity. I don't like that. I don't like that. I need to land something on this board. This is not great. I could just play Patient Rebuilding, and they don't seem to have anything that can stop that. But... oh, it can return enchantments too. Wow, Teferi does everything. Alright. This is so bad. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. So I can play Discovery and still have mana for a Price of Fame, or I can play Search and Price of Fame. Chemister's Insight and Search. Let's just Hostage Taker the hero, I guess. It's probably the best thing we can do, because that way we can get 2 creatures out here. They probably can't deal with both creatures immediately. Unfortunately, they can just Teferi the hero back to their hand, but at least they have to recast it still.
There goes nothing.
But it's like, I just don't have any good plays against a Teferi with that many counters anyway. Like, this way at least I'm making them bounce their own creature and recast it for some mana, instead of just having to completely redo my turn and play my creature again. Unfortunately, they did have the extra removal as well. Well, Teferi can't return something this turn, so I can play a Patient Rebuilding and expect it to stay here for a second, probably. Vraska can destroy something at CMC 3 or less. So she can destroy Search for Azcanta. I guess I'm just casting Discovery here. Enter the God Eternals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do have the mana for that. So we'll toss the land in the grave. 4 to a creature, mass 4? Yep, and then if they want to kill my target player... Oh, to mill them, I'll mill my opponent. If they want to kill my zombie army, they will have to sacrifice their Vraska to do it. So that's cool with me. Or they'll just have to have some other kind of removal in their hand. They do have a lot of cards. That could very much be the case. Alright, opponent is going in the Think Tank. It looks like they just have a Dust to Strike for that. This deck is just straight up just bombs and removal. But that's kind of my deck too, so...
Sacrifices must be made from time to time.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
Alright, well that's just a land. That does not help at all. I can price with a Morelia, so at least I don't have to worry about their creatures, but the problem is they have these freaking planeswalkers just destroying me out here. Draw some cards. And more lands. Okay. Could play Search and Price this turn, but I don't think Search... I think Search is just going to get destroyed by Vraska. If I play it. So I guess I'll just do the Guildgate. Get rid of Aurelia. Surveil some cards. Probably should have just surveilled before I drew. Do I want to draw an Augur of Bolas next turn? I actually don't think so. I think I really want to just draw one of my planeswalkers here. Of course, I mean, I do have a lot of powerful instants and sorceries that could also get me out of this. I could try to pick up a Mastermind's Acquisition to search for an Elder Spell.
That's more like it.
So, Augur might have been worth it.
As long as we win, nothing else matters.
Negate. This is far too late for a Negate right now. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I'll just let them kill my Search if they want. Yeah, unfortunately Negate does stone cold nothing, because they have Teferi out. This game is pretty over. They've just had a Vraska out for so many turns, they've drawn probably twice as many cards as me.
Don't worry, I got this.
So I think I need to probably... I feel like I put the best ways to deal with planeswalkers into this deck, but with War of the Spark, I think I really need to... I probably need to throw in more red and actually just put in some damage spells in here just to have more ways to interact with planeswalkers. Because the problem is, there actually just aren't that many in Singleton because you can only use one of each. So, I have Vraska's Contempt in here, and I have, Angrath's Rampage and some stuff like that, but... But I think that's probably just, not enough. Because if you're not a creature-based deck...
You'll die in agony.
There's just not that many ways to deal with these planeswalkers. Especially when I can't cast any of my counter spells because Teferi's on the board, so... That was pretty rough. Alright. Let's see what we have here for dealing with planeswalkers. Kind of tempted to just throw the Elder Spell in the main deck, but the problem is, that was one game. So, I don't know if everybody's going to be doing Planeswalker shenanigans, but it is Singleton, and it is, War of the Spark just got added. I feel like everybody's probably trying to have a fun time with all their Planeswalkers. Oh, I have Bedevil as well. So I have Bedevil, Angrath's Rampage, Vraska's Contempt, counter spells. Eldest Reborn, maybe in some corner cases. Let's see, what is good at dealing with Planeswalker? I'm gonna search for Planeswalker and see what's not a Planeswalker. There is no escape. But that's another counter spell. I already have plenty of counter spells. Try Price of Betrayal, which is a little weird. Not so sure about that. Mass Manipulation's really cool, but in a 3-color deck that's a little difficult, especially when it's not ramping. Plague Crafter. And then, yeah, obviously, red has a lot of ways to just deal damage to planeswalkers. So yeah, maybe if I keep getting destroyed by planeswalkers, I might start throwing in some of the random good red burn into here. Maybe some Chandra's Pyrohelix type stuff. Just stuff that I can shoot a little bit of damage at those planeswalkers. Oh, so the way that these events work is that it doesn't matter how many times you lose. All you have to do is you just keep playing as long as it takes you, and then whenever you get 15 total wins, that's when you've unlocked all of the prizes it's going to give you, which include some stained glass art styles that are very nice. So I'm probably just going to play, I'd say probably 2 or 3 games of video. I like both of these cards. I'm going to see, if I do this, do I draw Thought Erasure, or do I shuffle before I draw Thought Erasure? I think I shuffle before I draw if I do this. But I don't really have any other choice because I don't want to draw a Nexus of Fate right now. I want more mana, so let's find out. Yeah, I have to shuffle before I draw. That's awkward. Alright, Kite Sail Freebooter is gonna get rid of something. gets rid of the Ritual of Soot, so they are probably going to follow that up with some more creatures. I could pay 2 life to drop Narset down, or I can just play Search. They do have a freebooter on the board. I'm going to play Narset anyway, though. I'd like to try and draw into some other kind of Wrath, and that's perfect. Cry of the Carnarium it is. We will just exile that freebooter. Could have taken Liliana's thingamabob as well, which makes them sack a creature, but then this is the kind of situation that I was trying to avoid, which would be like if they played some other creature. If they played literally any other creature, and I chose Liliana's Sacrifice, they could choose to just sacrifice the other creature instead. And there's the scoop. I guess because I was being a little bit slow because I'm playing a control deck. So that kind of sucks. That feels bad. I certainly hope that I'm not the reason that opponents are having an unenjoyable time. But I know that it definitely happens sometimes. I'm, in general, kind of a slow player. Not that I slow play people, but that just I play slowly because I think slowly. So I think that definitely happens sometimes, that a lot of arena players just, want to get in and get out of the game real fast. And so if you're playing at a certain speed that is not up to their standards, they are just out of there. Alright, so Midnight Reaper, Dead Revels, Law Rune Enforcer, and Kitesail Freebooter. Well, that's a lot of good cards. I'm just going to take the Kitesail Freebooter because it's annoying. I don't want to deal with it. And I'm going to keep that land on top of my library because I have some expensive cards in this hand that I want to hit. Did they just top deck a drill bit after that? Or was that in their hand and I somehow didn't even notice it? That would be really embarrassing. So they took my Bedevil, even though I don't technically have the mana to be able to cast it in the first place. So I guess that means they probably have like some planeswalkers and stuff that they enjoy coming up. Or just in their deck in general. They don't want me to be able to kill. Maybe some kind of really good artifact, I don't know. Because I feel like otherwise, why would you just hurt murder? It's the same thing. I am going to murder that Midnight Reaper. I'd rather they not draw a million cards as I kill their other stuff. But they can draw 1 card for me killing that. Alright, we're going to play a Ral and Scry and hope to hit something good.
Think you can beat me? You're welcome to try. I'm really into current affairs.
That's a land. We're putting it on the bottom.
Because current electricity? Never mind.
Man, Ral is very talkative. They're going to poke Ral for 2. Oh, they're poking him for 1. Alright. Oh, they wanted to trigger their Dead Revels. That makes sense. Gonna freebooter me. Just get rid of my perception. For a moment. Or at least hopefully just a moment. I do have several Wrath-style effects that I'm hoping to scry into.
You must be accompanied by a parent or guardian to ride the lightning.
Wow. He just said you must be accompanied by a parent or guardian to ride the lightning. Alright, Ral. Okay.
Come on.
Oh my god. What do I have to be accompanied by for you to give me not a land, Ral? Come on, please.
If I could just distill lightning into a potion, it'd never sell.
I just have to draw Wrath now? I think that's like my only hope. So we're putting that counterspell on the bottom. mean, granted, my opponent just has a bunch of little dorks. So... I still have like 3 turns.
I'm out.
Well... This is not the time for a card like that. This is really good, just like, if they play a single planeswalker, this is good at just getting rid of that planeswalker. This is not good against a gigantic horde of creatures, because they can just sacrifice the creature with Afterlife and draw a card and lose a life from the Midnight Reaper. God Eternal Bonchu, that's a big old god. Let's see what they're sacrificing here. Just the lands, not sacking Hunted Witness, not sacking Orzhov Enforcer. Very interesting. Alright, well, we drew Nicol Bolas. We're still very dead on board, but maybe he will scare them. Maybe he's a very spooky dude. Okay, they're just gonna tap him. They're just gonna tap him right down and swing through for a million. Alright, well, thank you everybody for watching today's Singleton gameplay. As you can see, this deck has not worked out so hot. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's super wrong with it. Probably gotta go back to the drawing board. Maybe, I think the counterspells have just never been drawn at a good time. I've definitely been scrying the counters to the bottom a lot, and stuff like that. Patient Rebuilding just seems like way too slow. Probably needs some more good early game removal and stuff like that. Probably swap out a little bit of the late game stuff for some red stuff that does damage to anything in the early game, so I have a little more ways to interact with planeswalkers as well as just little dorks. But yeah, that was my first attempt at the Storm the Citadel Singleton event. I didn't even get to mulligan to try out the new mulligan rule, but maybe next time. Well, thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you for more Magic Arena content very soon.